Welcome to Global LTV, your channel for international headlines. As the curtain rises, we turn our attention to Ivory Coast with the front page of the newspaper L'Inter, reporting that negotiations are underway between the Soro camp and the government. The publication seems to indicate the whereabouts of the former president of the National Assembly and thus the position of a movement. L'Inter goes back over the CAN and evokes mystical religious overtones with revelations about the goal of Hala's victory in the final. On its front page, the newspaper mentions the excellence of a college that celebrates its best students. Let's stay in Côte d'Ivoire with Fraternité Matin. The Daily also looks back on the African Cup of Nations with a positive assessment for Ivory Coast, which not only won the trophy but also the Fraternity Cup. Fraternité Matin's small front page story on economics mentions the 3,262 tons of fertilizer and seeds granted to producers in the Beke and Go localities. The front page of Fraternité Matin reports on the return of the vice president of the 37th African Union Summit in Burkina Faso. The front page of today's Sidwaya tabloids reveals that the Citizens Watch has reaffirmed its support for the authorities' leadership of the transition. The paper also reports on the return of security and the administration of commune in the Sanu province after a 2-year absence. Sidwaya mentions the public reports of the 2022 Court of Accounts, which was presented to the head of states. In Cameroon Tribune, the Cameroon state-owned newspaper, features Philemon Yang, chosen to represent Africa as president of the 79th UN General Assembly on its front page. According to the Daily, the former prime minister proposed by President Paul Biya was unanimously chosen at the last conference of head of states and government held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. There remains the actual election stage, which will take place in New York next June. The former minister could thus accede to this function by virtue of the regional rotation principle established in this field. The conference of the African Union also attracted the interest of the Congolese tabloid Le Dépêche de Brazzaville. Its front page featured the succession to the organization, with Mohamed Ould Ghazouani taking over from Azali. The Congolese Capital's Daily also featured news from the World Bank's decision to grant the Congo $36 billion to support its reforms. Still on the front page, the paper presents bright prospects for skills training with the opening of a tourism and hotel school in Kitele. El Watan, the Algerian Daily, did not shy away from the African Union Conference either. Its front page headline reads, "Reform of the UN Security Council. Algeria mobilizes the African Union." Algeria's Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf, according to El Watan, calls on the African Union to confront the various attempts to undermine the UN Security Council reform process and to strengthen the common African position to redress the historical injustice to the African continent. Another dispatch, the one at midday, and we're in France, evokes an ecological concern with the headline, "New Battle Around the Arctic." The newspaper presents the year 2024, which is crumbling under the weight of global warming, pollution, industrial livestock farming, and mining, with serious consequences for the waters of the far north. The newspaper's small front page features tributes to 23 members of the French resistance, including Missak Manashian, executed 80 years ago and inducted into the Pantheon on Wednesday. Let's get out of this exercise with Le Figaro, which focuses on Alexei Navalny's funeral in Russia. On its front page, Le Figaro talks about a growth breakdown that is forcing the government to economize. That's the gist of today's review on Global LTV. We look forward to seeing you soon.